Hello, hello, hello. I am Zakiya Monique, Master Relationship Strategist, Transformational Speaker, Bestselling Author of Killer Connections, and the facilitator and founder of the Woman to Woman community. Listen, 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 listen. If you are not a part of the Woman to Woman community, I don't know why. You can definitely join us at bit.ly/ZM Woman to Woman, bit.ly/ZM Woman to Woman. This is a place in which you can love, laugh, lament, grow. We just finished. I did a teaching on mother wounds, and then I'm getting ready. I'm finishing up father wounds. Then we're going to go into forgiveness. So this is a place where you can really take your time and pace yourself. It is priced in a way where you can take your time and pace yourself and literally come and heal. Right. So bit.ly/woman to woman. And the replay for this will be uploaded to my YouTube channel, which is Relationship TV with Zakiya Monique. So come on and join that if you're led to. I also have a Sunday School Remix channel on YouTube for those who want to delve into biblical topics. Now, listen, I'm late tonight because, listen, I went to Parent Teachers Conference today. Let me tell y'all, they gave me the wrong progress report. And when I saw them grades, I didn't even look at the name. Because as soon as I saw them grades on that progress report, it was about to go down up in here. I was so mad. I had to come home and take a nap because when I get mad, I need that progress report was on the struggle bus. Like it wasn't no progress. They were locked. Like, all right. I'm gonna pray for him though. I'm gonna pray for him. But tonight we're here because Ayesha Curry is in the spotlight again. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I'm gonna put some cards up here. Probably up here or up here. I'm gonna put some cards up here of the previous live that I did. I did a previous live in 2019 about her saying some of the same stuff. And I was on a live, I was on a post today, and the girl gonna say, well, I think you need to go watch the actual, interview. And I'm thinking to myself, probably not, because she probably saying the same things, right? And I was right, not being funny. But she said some of the same things. She just gave some more details, okay? So she's in the spotlight again. I'm going to make sure I give you some cards. If you're watching this on Facebook, I already put a post up of the 2019 video. I'm also going to share the video of why married women seek attention outside of their marriages, because that was another one that was based on what she was doing. She was just out here trying to see if she can get some views or something because she felt invisible. But here we are again because she done made some statements and said some things, and it was, some of it was taken out of context, what she did say, but there's a reason why it was taken out of context. But let me give you a few disclaimers first and foremost. Disagreement is okay. I got no problem with that. Welcome. Come on in. You can talk with me. I don't have no problem with that. I'll read your comments. But disrespect is not. And I put a post up today saying that we were going to go live about this, and like people got heated. And I'm like, why are we getting so heated? This is not our life. Like this ain't our life. Okay. At the end of the day, I use these situations to talk about relationships and to further bring light to relationship issues. I do not care other than that. I pray about it, but this ain't my life. This ain't your life. Okay. So let's not get so involved that we are going off on people online. Like we got to cut that out. Okay. But disagreement is okay. Disrespect is not. So that's number one. We got to understand that first and foremost, because we're not going to do that. Okay. Not over here. Also, I'm not here to bash Ayesha Curry. I don't like her or dislike her. I don't know her. How about that? I don't know Ayesha Curry. So that's my stance on it. Like, you don't like her? I don't know her. There are some things that I'm going to say that might offend you, but that's not my intent. My goal is to provide a different perspective. So keep that in mind. And then I watched the interview. If you did not watch the full interview or didn't watch the clips from 2019, you might want to just chill and go watch those things before you try to come and present something. Because I'm going to be coming from the place of things she said. So I'm coming from the place of facts that she said. I'm not coming from a place of what I feel. Okay. So I watched the 2019 clip, and I watched the August. I watched the August because she actually taped that in July, August or so. Okay, so I watched that interview. Okay, and whether we want to admit it or not, one of the things that we just gonna have to come on and just be honest about is that double standards exist, and they always will. They always will. You can argue if you want to, but it's a fact that they exist on both sides. There are some things as a mother that we get off with, we get off with. Mamas, they be like, Mama don't do no wrong. Mother worship is real. And when Mother's Day come, baby, they got everything, jewelry, candy, everything. Father's Day come, he gets the tools and the cologne and a tie. Okay? So double standards do exist, and they always will. And the sooner we accept that's just what it is, then we'll stop arguing over the small things and go and tackle the real issues that are in our culture. Now, let me make a few points. All right. Hey, everybody. Come on in. Let me make a few points. Number one, why are people mad? Well, most people are mad at Ayesha because they feel like if they were in that situation, they would feel like this, or they will feel like that, but you're not in that situation. Many men are mad because they feel like, here she go again. They still mad at her from last time. So this is called stacked disdain. Stacked disdain. We already don't like you. They already saying she for the streets. So they are this on top of what she already done said. Because they feel like she disrespected him last time and they ain't forgave her for what she said before. So it's very hard to hear somebody objectively when you're still offended from last time, right? But even for the men that are not offended, they're mad because they feel like she ungrateful. Look at how hard, they sacrifice it for their families, and they saying, I wish I could provide for my family the way that he provides for his family, and she's still not happy. So her words are triggering to many of those who hate their jobs. For instance, there are a lot of women that get up and go to jobs that they hate, jobs that they hate. And they're like, you don't even have to work and you crying? Her words are triggering to many who wish they could provide for their wives in this way and can't. Her words are triggering to those who are wounded already from somewhere else. And this just gave them the ammunition to say, see, these hoes ain't loyal, no matter what. You ain't mad at Ayesha Curry, though. You mad at your mama. That's a mother wound. Some of y'all are mad at your mother, fellas. This is why you got all of these raggedy podcasts out here that's tearing women down. No. Who set the tone for it? Your mama. Your mama was the first one that broke your heart, and you just kept gravitating to women that continued the job and finished the job on off. You ain't mad at Ayesha, though. You're really mad at your mama. Let's just call it what it is. Now, on the flip side, the second point is some are supporting Ayesha for the same reason that others are mad, because they trigger too. There are many women who feel the exact same way that she feels, or that she expressed that she felt, and just may not have had the guts to say it. So they missed a lot of other things that she said because they was too busy standing 10 toes down on her right to feel the way that she feels, because they really saying, I understand and I got that right too. See, here's the thing. When I was young, and we used to play this game on paper. I don't know if y'all played the game on paper, but we used to play this game on paper. You would put the 3 or 4 cars on top 5 cars you like, and then 5 cities you want to live in, and then you'll put the number of kids, 5 number of kids, and 5 guys, and then you go around and count or whatever. Listen, let me tell you something. When it was me, I was real heavy on the what kind of car, heavy on the where I would live, but light on them kids, because I always equated kids with needs. I felt like kids was going to need a lot. And if you do it right, they do. Back in the day, the average number of taking care of a kid from 0 to 18 was $300,000. That was back in the day. That was pre-COVID. Now what is it? I venture to say it's probably about 450 to 600,000 per kid. So I wouldn't be just so quick to just be spitting no kids out neither. I'm going to just say that. However, even though I was real light on that kid number and all of that, and when I was younger, they would say, what you want to do when you grow up? I would tell them what I wanted to be. I wanted to be an obstetrician. I didn't want to have a lot of kids because they needed a lot of money, and I didn't want to share like that. I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to help a lot of people. I wanted to live a real quiet life. And If I had kids, cool. If I didn't, cool. So I totally get. I understand where she's coming from when she said that wasn't something she factored in her life. Being married and having kids wasn't something she factored in her life. And part of the reason why she didn't factor it in her life was because her parents were very, 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 very strict on her. He was her first date. That's what she said. So nobody stopped and thought about the fact that he was her first date. That's why she didn't equate marriage and kids, because that wasn't something that was in her life. She didn't get to have boyfriends. Right? So I said all of that to say at the end of the day, regardless of whatever that is, I love my 2. And if you count my Zammy pool, I love my 3. Right? So I'm speaking from a place of understanding as a woman, but I'm also objective in a few other areas. Some of y'all ladies missed everything else she said. Let's be clear and let's be real. Y'all missed everything else she said, or didn't even watch the interview, because as soon as y'all read, oh, she didn't want to be married or have children. We all have felt that way. We all may have. Go listen to the interview though. She said some other stuff. She said some other stuff. Come off your trigger. Fellas, come off your sheep from the streets trigger and hear with different ears, okay? The next point is, it is unfortunate that once again, it is evident that we do not know how to realize duality. 2 things can be true at the same time. I am convinced that this generation, I am convinced that this population of people just don't know how to accept 2 things at once. They can be true at once. And I realized that when Hulk Hogan passed away, okay? When Terry Jean Bollea passed away, AKA Hulk Hogan from WWF. We don't fool with WWE. WWF passed away. And some of us were thinking about our childhoods and reminiscing our childhoods. And people came along and said, he was racist because he didn't want his daughter to date nobody black. I don't know that man. I'm talking about Hulk Hogan, who was in the ring getting punched and beat and his hair sweat to his face. And then he tore his shirt off and then he won the match. That's what I'm talking about. I am not talking about Terry Jean Bollea, who didn't want his daughter to date. 2 things can be true at once. And the sooner we embrace that, my gosh, 2 things can be true at once. Ayesha Curry could have not wanted to have children or not be married or not have factored that into her future, but she still can be very much happy and appreciative that she is a mom now and that she loves her kids now. That 2 things can be true. My gosh. Yes, I had dreams and aspirations and never saw myself with children, or I had dreams and aspirations that didn't involve me having children or whatever, but that don't mean I regret my kids being here or hate that they're here any less. I don't hate that they're here. And I was just like, when it came to factoring in my future, kids wasn't high on the priority because I knew they needed a lot. And I don't like a lot. I don't like things that need a lot from me. But when my kids came, baby, like I said, I love my babies. Okay, 2 things can be true at the same time. Mama could love you, but mama still gave you a womb. Daddy could love you, but daddy was still irresponsible. Like 2 things can be true. And many of us are not healing today because we don't accept the fact that 2 things can be true. No, my mama loved me, but she still gave you a womb. She still gave you a womb because she was flawed. Mama can still love you and be flawed at the same time. 2 things can be true. Embrace it. The sooner you embrace it, the sooner you'll get your healing. Okay? The next point, she knew Steph Curry before he was Steph Curry to us. Okay, so before he was Steph Curry with the shot, he was, Stephen, what's his name? Wardell. And by her own admission in the 2025 interview, she was not in tune with what he was becoming. That's one of the biggest issues that we have in the interview. Y'all saw she ain't want no kids and she complaining. I saw, how are you not in tune with what he's becoming? But this the only guy you ever dated. This the guy whose hand in marriage you took, but you still was not in tune with who he was becoming. How? She said she was blindsided by his NBA career. When the girl asked her, so you just never thought he'd go to the NBA? You never thought? She's like, no. So she was blindsided by his NBA career, despite the fact that the odds of him being scouted were very high because his father was in the NBA. Also, he was coming back and forth to LA from Charlotte, where they were from North Carolina, where they were from, to award shows and stuff. Girl, what you thought he was doing? She wasn't in tune with what he had going on. And that's a big sign. How are you marrying people and you're not in tune with them and their future and what they moving toward and what they want to be and what they want to do? There is no way we should be marrying people. And I do understand that she was 22. I got it. But we should not be married. But like, hello, you talking about I give you the rest of my life. I give you the rest of my life. Hold on, because what does that look like? Let me look at based on what you're doing now. What does that look like? She said she didn't know. She didn't know that he was heavy into basketball like that. Even though he told her he wanted to be a high school basketball coach. She was like, I didn't know. So you didn't know he had a passion for basketball? His father went to the NBA. You didn't know? I find that very hard to believe. I find that very hard to believe. That you just wasn't in tune with what was happening in his life, but you really loved him. How did you love him if you don't know the very thing that he loves? And she said, I thought he told me he wanted to be a high school basketball coach, and I thought that I would be the one out there making it happen. That's really what the problem is. That's really what the problem is. Number one, she thought she would be out there. She would be the career woman. She didn't think he was going to be the star, the star. She thought she was. And we already established in 2019 that she like attention. And when she don't get no attention and don't feel appreciated, she run off to these podcasts and she yep. I'm sorry. This is what it is. She said she did not know what she was signing up for. Now, to some degree, she may not have, because it's a lot. He became Steph Curry with the shot. He had already been in the NBA a couple of years, so she thought, okay, we're going to live a nice little life. He's going to make some money, and all of this is all good. But he became Steph Curry with the shot, and everything just went different. He started playing longer seasons because now they're going to the playoffs, and he winning MVPs and all this other stuff, and they all in the limelight, and people is in her personal space, and that's what she didn't sign up for, and I can understand that. I can totally understand that. It becomes overwhelming. And then he's not a good shepherd when it comes to guarding their space. See, this is why you got to be watchful over who you're marrying and who you need, because a strong man, he knows how to, you don't believe me? Y'all can say what y'all want about LeBron, but get too close to Savannah. He ain't going to flop. He not going to flop. Not on that. Get too close to Zuri. He ain't going to flop. LeBron will tell everybody in this world that he is who he is because of who he got at home. You know why? Because he'll tell you, I don't have to worry about home. So LeBron don't forget to introduce his wife. Steph Curry did. Because Steph Curry is like, this is a lot. There's too much going on. He's trying to satisfy everybody. But see, you got to come into your own as a man, and you have to know how to put those boundaries in place. But if you don't, then you're going to have these type of issues, like your wife going off talking crazy. You just are. You got to learn how to direct traffic, fellas. You got to learn how to direct traffic. We can't keep saying, well, they're young, because they're older now and still having the same issues. So what have you been doing since 2019? Because we had the first interview 2019. What's going on? What's going on? So I believe he didn't know that, it would happen this way. And I believe, honestly, that she didn't know what she was signing up for with all of this. Nobody could have known that. Not to mention the fact, like I said, they were living a relatively quiet life in 2011 when they were married very young. He was 23, she was 22. But I believe he did know that it might happen, and he wanted to have a mate before he got there. I just don't think that he was ready for the magnitude and how quickly it would happen. And this kind of makes me wonder, because if your dad was in the NBA and he knew what to expect, and he's supposed to be your mentor or supporter, how did he not equip you to better adjust your expectations and handle it? But that's another show, another talk. Now, some of it could just be his personality, because she said he always trying to please everybody, he talk to everybody, he's friendly, so much so that he don't even know when women are trying to hit on him, and he will forget to introduce her. She said this back in 2019. And she still feel invisible today. She's still insecure today. She still got all them same issues. Might have grown a little bit, but she still got all those same issues, which is why you go to a podcast and say all this instead of saying this to your husband. Hopefully you said it to him before you got to the podcast, but I'm just saying. But it would seem like his father, who dealt with some of these things, would have given him or helped him navigate that space a little bit better. Now, in 2019, she sat with some other famous celebrity wives and made some statements that caused a lot of mayhem. Now, Jada agreed with her, but nobody said nothing to Jada because most folks thought Jada was a lost cause. They're like, don't say nothing to her. They be swinging, they be doing all this other stuff. So whatever, Jada. Okay, but whatever the case was, she caught a lot of flack. Now, let me tell you the problem that I have. I don't have a problem with her saying that, maybe kids or a husband was not factored into her future. I ain't got a problem with that because if that's her truth, that's her truth. But let me tell you where the problem lies. Now, in 2019, I asked everybody to cut Ayesha some slack. Okay, in the previous video, you can go back and watch that. I asked everybody, give her a little grace because she's 30 years old. And no, I'm not saying that she's less deserving of that grace anymore. But here's where I have a problem with this here new interview. Number one, no, there's nothing wrong with you saying that you didn't anticipate marriage or children because she was doing her own thing. But I do hold her responsible for not communicating when things started going awry, when things started going in a direction that she was not okay with. Listen, ladies, I don't care how much you love him. At the end of the day, when things start going in a direction where you feel like you're not getting what you need in a relationship or you won't get what you need in a relationship, it is your responsibility to communicate that. You can't expect him to just say, well, I think Ayesha is feeling under pressure. I think Ayesha is. No. Communication is necessary. She and Steph met when they were young, like 14, 15. They started dating some time later. Let me help you paint this. They started dating some time later, maybe about 17, 18. Steph got drafted at 2021. She the one told him, don't take the opportunity to stay in college, as if he couldn't finish college later. She didn't realize the magnitude of what she was telling him not to do, and he ended up doing it anyway. Here's my thing. You got to watch. At the end of the day, everybody that's joined together, God didn't join. I'm going to just say it. If this man loved basketball the way that he loved basketball and he got this opportunity that everybody don't get, you're going to tell him don't take the opportunity because you won't finish college. And her reason behind that was education. People around me weren't getting education and I just wanted him to get education. Like, you're going to quit? Sometimes you just got to admit that even though you feel whatever you feel for a person, maybe they might not be who God ordained for you, because who God ordained for, okay, I'm not going to get ahead of myself. At the end of the day, she told him, don't take the opportunity. He ended up taking the opportunity and changed all their lives, right? Everybody's life around him, right? Now, they got married at 22, 23. And by the way, he did finish college. Let's keep it moving. Had a baby the next year at 23 and 24. His career took off 2 years later. Why am I telling you this? Because she had plenty of time to say, hold on, babe, I still want to do some things that I dream of. Because while the interview kind of portrayed their children as their steps, like bam, 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 they not. I looked it up. I did my research. Riley was born July of 2012. Ryan was born July of 2015. Cannon was born July of 2018. And Caius was born May of 24. So that means them three were 3 years between each one of them. You mean to tell me you couldn't have a conversation between these two right here? When Riley was born, baby, it's still some things I want to do, because she said she felt like she wanted to resume her life after Riley. She had lost herself before that, and all the women were like, yes, I know what it feels like to lose myself. Yeah, but she found herself after Riley. And when she found herself after Riley, baby, what did you do between 2012 and 2015? Because life was still relatively quiet. Before things got real noisy. What did you do? Because he wasn't playing as much and as long as he is now, for sure. He was not getting invites like that in the beginning. And then rookie years, he was not invited to come and play in no Pro Bowl, whatever it is. No, all-star games, He wasn't Steph Curry with the shot. So before he became Steph Curry with the shot, what was you doing? What conversations were you having? You said you found yourself after Riley. So between Riley and that other baby, it was 3 years. You ain't had no conversation in 3 years when you found yourself and said, babe, I think I want to do something with my life. No conversation. You can't blame him for that. You can't blame nobody for that. Because she also said that he was very gracious and supportive and never once told her that she had to give up on her career dreams. So let me get this straight. You got a very gracious and supportive man who will support anything that you do. Okay? In fact, he celebrated her when she got acting roles. He's the one who told her to keep on doing her blog, to cook. And then he supported her with going to cooking school. She had a cooking segment, a recipe book, and food television career. He supported all of that. So you mean to tell me you got a man that's supporting everything that you're doing, anything that you want to do, but you couldn't have a conversation with him between 2012 and 2015 to tell him that you felt like your dreams was being pushed by the wayside? Ayesha Curry, flag on the play. Cut it out. Cut it out. Because, baby, if you already felt invisible and overwhelmed and unappreciated and misunderstood, how do other kids make it here? Can y'all answer for me why we keep having kids if kids is the problem? If we always want to cite that kids are the problem, I had all these kids. Well, how they keep making it here? If you knew you were struggling with one, how'd you make it to two? If you knew you were struggling with two, baby, how'd you get to four? Oftentimes, we as women want to blame men for not understanding us or understanding where we come from. But we, what have our patterns said? And do you understand you yourself? Because the truth is we change every 7 to 10 years. So for a mentally and emotionally stable and healthy woman, and she said that she on anxiety meds. So it's hard to write your wants and desires in pen. When you healthy, it's hard to write your wants and desires in pen because we change. So how we expect for a man to keep up with those changes that we are not communicating? But she admits that she always in therapy because she's torn about mommy guilt. Why? You got enough Now understand, you are listening to a woman who missed her daughter's first steps. I'm not proud of that, but I did. I missed my daughter's first steps because I was grinding, school and work. I cried about missing my daughter's first steps, but I was determined that if I missed her first steps, she was going to see why when I stepped across the stage to get those degrees. And I made sure to show her where mommy was when mommy wasn't in her eye shot. So I get the whole mommy guilt, but how much of this is really mommy guilt versus this is not the life I want and I want therapy to fix that for me? Come on, we just got to go and call it what it is. Because if you still got the same issue 7 years later, come on now. How much of that is I don't like the life. I don't like this, not the life I wanted. Despite it being a blessed one, despite it being whatever, this is not the life I wanted. And we don't have enough space sometimes for people to say that because look how she's getting blasted now. But how much of that mommy guilt is really, this is not the life I wanted and I want therapy to fix that? Therapy ain't going to fix that. Because that's just your truth. But you got to fix your own confidence issues that have caused you to not advocate for yourself. And these are things she said herself. I'm not making it up, okay? Now, let me tell you something. When I met my ex-husband, I told him I don't want a lot of kids. That was one of the first conversations we had. I said, children require a lot. I already had a daughter. And he said he didn't have kids. So he said, well, I want a son and that's it. I said, okay. Every guy I met, I said, I want a lot of kids. Because if you want a lot of kids, it's time for us to go ahead and move on. So I told him I don't want a lot of kids. He said, well, I want a son, that's it. And if the first child not a son, then I want to try one more time. I said, okay, 3 kids, all right. I got pregnant very fast. It was a boy. Tie me up, doc. That was me. Tie me up, doc. She would not. But he gonna say, I was thinking we got a boy and I would like to try for a girl too. I said, good luck and don't bring the bastard to my house. Y'all praying for me? Pray. 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 Because that's what I said. I ain't gonna lie to y'all up on this screen. Good luck and don't bring the bastard to my house. Because I told you I ain't finna lay here and have a batch of babies. I'm just not finna do it. Love or not, I matter too, and I said what I said. So, ladies, if you sitting up here and you ain't advocating for yourself, that's your fault. Let me just say it. It's your fault. If you laying up here having baby after baby and you didn't want a whole bunch of babies, that's your fault. That is your fault. Because you can't sit up and say, abortion is my body, it's my body, but then you lay up here and have baby after baby and say, I did it because I loved him. Nope, it's your body, remember? So you can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. I feel from what she said in the interview that she has some people in her ear telling her that, you should be privileged with the life that you're living in and you love him or whatever. But listen, true love does not require you to leave you behind. Can I say it one more time? True love does not require you to leave you behind. Let me look in this camera over here. True love does not require you to leave you behind. You can come too. Even God tells you to love your neighbor as we love ourselves. That means you should not be trying to love your neighbor until you love you, because you can't love your neighbor until you love you. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, we can sometimes lose ourselves in love. It ain't healthy, but it happens. However, she said that she came to after Riley. That was the first child. So everything after that is her own responsibility to make him aware or whatever. And if not, you got to eat that. Don't come on here being, I just feel, nope, nope, no. The real issue may have been, like I said, that he was her first real date. And sometimes if you ain't been out here, you might start thinking you missing out on something. Girl, let me tell you something. Don't be crazy enough to risk what's sure and pure. Do not risk what's sure and pure. I didn't say perfect, but don't risk what's sure and pure for something that may be tainted unless you're willing to take that L. So that's the first issue that I had with Ayesha. Is that you doing all this talking, but yet you said you came to after that first baby. So how you get to baby number 4? If you wanted to explore your dreams and felt like you were just losing yourself, well then, baby, you found yourself. And so you should have had a conversation between 2012 and 2014, but you didn't. So let's keep it moving. Point number 2, you went on a podcast called Call Her Daddy that has the following description, because I researched that too. Follow along Alexandra Cooper and the Daddy Gang as they exploit the details of their lives, making you feel a hell of a lot better about yours. Call Her Daddy, Alex Cooper. That's the podcast you chose to go on to talk. This woman has people calling her daddy. And that's the podcast that she says she exploit her own life. And that's the podcast that you chose to go on to talk. And if you watch the interview, you will hear the girl leading her into mess. I'm talking about hyping her up, baby. Led her right on into the lion's den. You allowed yourself to be exploited by somebody who knew exactly what she was doing, asking you them questions. But then that makes me wonder, did you go on there on purpose? Because sometimes when people feel like they're not being heard, they rebel. Come on, Ayesha. We can't keep on saying she young. You went on a podcast that says they exploit. I found it. So it's open. It's not hidden. They exploit their own life so you feel better about yours. You think they ain't finna exploit your life, Ayesha? And at the beginning of the interview, she jokingly said, I don't want to get in trouble for the things that I might say. So this is making me wonder if this was accidental. No, it's making me wonder. It's making me wonder. Because you didn't learn about the influence that you have in a platform that comes with this life last time in 2019 when you said this much information and it turned this big. You didn't realize that? Whether you asked for this, whether you got blindsided with this life, you chose to stay. And if you choose to stay, you're choosing to play. And you can't keep sitting on the bench whining and winded every time somebody calls you out on your stuff. And that go for all of us. Now, you let this girl who ain't got nan kid, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that just because you don't have kids, you don't know nothing about them, because sometimes the best nurturers are women that don't have kids. Don't ask me, ask God why he made it that way. But ultimately, this girl ain't got nan kids. You let her rah-rah you right into another debacle. Come on now. Come on. Every invitation should not be accepted. Can we just be honest about that? I don't care. Every invitation should not be accepted. When you are a woman at that caliber of life, you got to be careful who you play with. And I don't care what caliber of life, you got to be careful who you lay and play with anyway. Right? You got to be careful who you associate yourself with. But at that level, representing that brand, you got to be careful who you go sit with. Man. The next point, you can't take the good and forego the bad. Yes, I am sure that the fame has been overwhelming and the sacrifices that he makes are often magnified more than hers. I totally get it as a mother. However, you cannot highlight the lady who invades your space or the woman who like your husband and the women that like your husband. But then you want to downplay how you just slid to cooking school, got a local spot, from the Warriors before every game with your cooking. You got your book published, slid that in there. And you got the Food Network spot, slid that in there. That happened very quickly and you enjoy every minute of it. You can't take that if you can't take the issue with the fame. Like, hey, some of this stuff come with the territory. Am I saying this right? No. Some of it is your husband ain't drew the right boundaries around y'all. But at the end of the day, you can't take the good without taking the bad that go along with it. And let me just say this to strengthen my point. God does not give you grace for the man, but don't give you grace for his plan for the man. I stand behind that Tell her to call me if she got a problem with what I said. God does not give you grace for the man, but you have no grace for his plan for that man. Come on. Come on. Another point, she said that people don't realize that there is a life outside of where they are now. What? We just had the whole Michelle Obama, you can have it all era. She just showed all of us that you can have it all. You can have a loving husband. You can not have scandal in the White House. All of this. All of this. And you mean to tell me you're going to tell us that we don't understand how it feels when a woman can have it all and women need to try to have. Girl, where you been? Where have you been? Michelle Obama came in the White House like, hey, this is what we doing. This how it's going. We gonna still be women. We gonna have husbands. But we still gonna be lawyers. We still gonna. So where have you been? Other women are in the same tax bracket, in the same industry, doing the same thing as you, making it work for them. Savannah James put Zuri right on a plane with her to go to Japan to deal with her skincare line. Women are regular women, okay? Even though y'all regular too, but women in regular tax brackets are having children later and later to accommodate what they want to do in life. So it would be different if this was Juanita Jordan talking, because Juanita Jordan is a baby boomer. But baby girl, you are a millennial. You are a millennial. So honey, what are you talking about? Having it all, not being a working woman and a woman that's appreciated and a mother and all that. Hey, it's a lot of women doing it. And they making it work for them. And how they're making it work for them is because they're using those additional resources that they have. They using those. Beyonce got her whole family out here on tour. Whole family. Husband, get yourself up here. Rhyme, little girl, twirl. Hey, you right here. Whole family on tour. And you got mommy guilt because you went and stirred some food up in some pots on this Food Network. Leverage your resources and move on. Okay? But you can't keep on going deeper and deeper, digging a hole deeper and deeper into something that you keep complaining about in any capacity. You constantly having kids, but then you get on these podcasts and say all these women are not. Oh my gosh. Look. Again, I say pray for them. But this time, Lord, reveal to them if this is for them. Because at this point, this ain't no rut no more. This ain't y'all young no more. Somebody unhappy. Somebody's unhappy. And many of us are like, how could she be unhappy? She's married to Steph Curry. She got all this money. That don't make you happy. Provision don't override presence. No. When you love somebody, when you love them. When you love them, you're like, I hear all that money, but I want you. I love you, right? And sometimes some women don't want to say this, but they want to go back to the time when they didn't have kids and they didn't have fame and all that, because that's when they had the most fun. And that's okay to say too. But you're here now. And either you're going to be here or you're not. Either you're going to be here or you're not. And you can't keep going on these podcasts and letting yourself get baited into these conversations that really should be between you and your husband, or you and your best friend, or you and your diary, or you and the Lord. All right. And so I welcome your comments. Again, disagreement is fine, but disrespect is not. Those were my points. You may have other points if you watched the interview. Again, I'm not here to bash her. All I'm saying is at some point, this ain't no rut. Okay. We here 7 years later. And you still saying some of the same things. So this ain't no rut at this point. And something got to give. Okay. And yeah. And I pray that they figure it out, whatever it is. Because just because y'all look like y'all good together don't mean that that's God's will. And when it ain't God's will, sometimes it will bring about a toiling. When everybody else see it and be like, I don't understand what's the problem. It's a toiling because y'all ain't supposed to be together. Or God didn't make y'all for each other. If God don't ordain it, he ain't got to sustain it or maintain it. That ain't his job. He paid for what he ordered. He ain't got to pay for yours. All right. So I love y'all so very much. I hope this was helpful. So unfortunate to be right back here again 7 years later doing the same stuff. But anyway, I digress. We are human. And I want y'all to have a great evening. You already know how. On purpose. God bless you.